Pop off, dog.
All right, we're back at it again. Back to another episode of Money Matters. I'm your host, Josh Zabak, with your co host.
Cesar Romero.
Today, we wanted to get into a couple different things, into how we're really building our future moving forward from here. I think it's important to cover that. I think it's important to talk about the growth that we're seeing consistently on a week by week basis, which is getting really exciting for me. I don't know how you feel about that. Do you see things coming? Do you see things rapidly changing that we're dealing with right now?
Yeah, man, absolutely. I think that we're taking every step in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? So business wise, exposure wise, mainly. So I think I'm excited, man. I think we're taking the right steps, and I think I mentioned earlier that it went from things that maybe we were just thinking or talking about to everything's happening really fast now.
Right. And that's a driving force is you just got to do things sometimes. Sometimes you're not in the best position to do what you should do or what you have to do, and sometimes you just got to start with what you got. And I think that's a reflection of the first episode that we did to now. You can see a significant difference from episode 2 to episode 3. Shout out Jesus.
That's right. Our guy Jesus in the back right now, man, working his magic.
Yeah. And it's impressive when you can get people that believe in you to come out, to show up, and to put their time on the line, really. You know, we talked about it in our other episode. We both have companies that are successful. We're both making money. So when we do this podcast, we're not getting paid anything for it right now. Hopefully one day that might be in fruition. But at least from my mind, the money that we would make for this would be to set more people up into the business structure.
Yeah, because it's giving us, and that's the I think hard part of a lot of businesses is they involve a lot of work that you're not paid for, right? And so I think we dove in and decided, well, we're going to spend the time, we're going to spend the money, do it ourselves. And then if we can do it successfully, potentially help other people put themselves out there.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I think that was one of the key points that I read in a book. I don't read a lot of books, but one I did read was The Laws of Success by Napoleon Hill. And one of them was always give more than people bargain for. My goal when I was in sales in a house or whatever I was doing was go above and beyond the call of duty. And you typically get rewarded for that. I think I even made mention of like the Richard Branson quote last week, about how he doesn't do it for the financial gains. He does it for the people. And if the people that are around you within your companies aren't proud of what they're doing, why are you even doing it? You're just doing it for money. Businesses that do it for money deserve to fail, in my opinion. And that's back to our last episode. If you didn't see it, check out last episode where we talked about capitalism and is it good, is it bad? It can be. It just depends on the people. And unfortunately, nowadays, when 90% of the people out there are just going after the dollar, it's not people that are setting themselves up for success. It's a short term of success. I actually watched back last week's episode and I wanted to quote Lil Wayne so bad. I was like, fast money don't last too long. You got to pace it. And these people who are out there for the fast buck, I hope you fail. I don't mean to say it like that, but the more that people care about people, the more that their business should grow and should be successful. And I think, based on my mind and all of our conversations, we're on the same wavelength. It's like, I'd rather put myself out of the equation and use what I have to put it into others. And it is for a little, myself. It is a little bit for me. Obviously, I wouldn't do it if there was no gain for me, but you got to give to get. Quid pro quo. Henry's the master of social media marketing, of creating memes and stuff like that. There's things that I know how to do, not very many, but just enough to get by in life. And we were like talking about our different businesses. And I think naturally we created a plan that they work together synergistically, that one can help the other. And we saw the benefit of me giving you my time and the benefit of you giving me your time so we could grow something that's bigger than us.
Yeah, and I think that's what, a big thing that's missing from early on. And I think we touched that even on one of the episodes. We're taught early on to do things separate and not pass tests together, when in reality, especially in the business world, rule number one, a lot of these people have already made it. They have plenty of content and videos out there about finding a team and finding people that you can work with. But it's not so much of, and especially in our case, finding people that want to make money. It's people that want to help people and make money if possible in the
Right.
process.
They have
And
a passion for something.
I think that that is a huge thing that whether consciously or subconsciously you were thinking, was there when you started your business, and
Absolutely.
I can tell you very consciously it was there when I looked to start my business, right? So, one of the things that I think about sometimes, and I only, I do my small business spotlights on my other show, um, but I plan on only having the businesses there that have like a certain thing, right? And what I'm looking for is, or what a lot of people are looking for is like, would I send my mom or grandma to that business by themselves,
Right.
right? And allow them to deal with they're one of the top salesmen at that business. And I think back
Knowingly.
to every dealership, every company I've ever worked for, and the answer is no.
Yeah. I feel the same way. And I think about the same things about my mom. If somebody was to go into her house and sell her a product, what I want her sitting in there with a salesman. If 9 out of 10 salesmen are going for the money and going for the jugular to make money off you, they're probably going to do it to your mom too. And would you want to base it on the 10% or the 90%? I'm sorry. I'm not saying there's not good sales guys out there. I'm just saying I got to base it on the 90%. I'm not going to trust the 10%. So, and it is funny, like you said, in your business structure, you didn't, go for the money necessarily. The money comes naturally. And I think that's what I definitely did is I disconnected from that and focused on kind of righting my wrongs as a high pressure salesman. Like, what can I do that's of value for somebody to buy off me that I don't have to sell them? But beyond that, as my business grows and as your business grows, we've devised a plan. And it's going to be interesting to put this out to see in a couple years. I say a couple years. I'm like next year, next month, a couple months. I'm impatient.
Right.
I mean, that's why I got never satisfied tattooed on the side of my leg, right? Because I'm never satisfied. I don't want to wait. I want things now. But you know what? Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither were all companies. But the connections can be built quickly.
That's
I
right.
used to always hear the saying, our future lies in the hands of people that we haven't even met yet. Just like I haven't met Jesus yet, and I just met him, and I feel like our future lies in his hands.
Right.
I feel like an aspect of one of the companies that we would develop, we see him in a position taking that over and moving forward with that. And it's like the more people that are willing to A, put themselves out there, B, take a risk, because that's what hustlers do. You take risks. Not everything's guaranteed. That's what sales guys do. They take risks.
Yeah.
If you couldn't take a risk, you would never make the money. So you take the risk, the money comes if you're with good people. And it's just building that network together, right? That team.
Yeah. And we're going to be bringing a lot of attention to different industries, and salespeople. Not because all salespeople are bad, but maybe a salesman out there will tune in and realize that they are screwing people over, even though they don't realize it.
Yeah.
Kind of like you say, you were trying to make up for it. Same here, right? I look back to some of the jobs I've had in sales and things like that, and how at the time I believed in what I was doing, because the company had fed me the information they needed to feed me so that I could go
Right.
out there and do the job for them. But in hindsight and everything that I know now, almost feel bad about it. So
It's okay. It's okay. You can just say it. You feel
yeah,
bad about
feel
it.
bad about it.
I feel bad about
And
it.
so
But that's what drives us.
right. And it's gonna drive us to try to disrupt some industries,
And not just one.
not just one.
Because that's the thing with your philosophy and my philosophy. And the more that we discuss, the more that we aligned everything together. Naturally, it's like the universe just lined up if you believe in that stuff. And I do. And I believe in frequencies. And we were on the same frequency.
Yep.
And as we thought about it and brainstormed more every single day, our plan evolved. And it evolved again and it evolved again. And even at one point, you were like, I mean, just be honest, you were like, I don't think we should do all that. Maybe not right off the bat. I was like, why?
Yeah.
Why not? See, the goal in a business at any point is to replace yourself if you're doing a good job.
Right.
So you develop the business, you get to the point that you do the work. So you put your DNA in that business figuratively, and you're able to have your fingerprint on that. You have a guide.
You were
Look to
talking about
Apple.
the stripper I met last week named Business.
Oh, you put your never mind. Uh, Steve, maybe we cut that part. Maybe not. But
Maybe
Steve
not.
Jobs, if you look at Apple, Steve Jobs' DNA is all over Apple. Even when Steve Jobs retired, you still knew it was Steve Jobs' company, right? And if you can embed your core philosophies in other companies, it doesn't matter what you're selling. Every company is the same. Somebody that has a product or a service that's selling it. How you market it, what you sell it for, that's where the distinguishing, differences between one company or a good company and a bad company, forms.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And I think like a lot of stuff is again just education. And I probably will mention that in every show that we do
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
education, and maybe not education, but information, right?
Well, that is education. You
Uh
have to have the information to make an educated decision, right?
yep. And that's where a lot of people lack it, and not even through fault of their own. Again, I will always harp on the lack of education in our existing systems, I guess we could say, right? And because of that, and said this before, I feel like there's entire industries that work just because, or that exist because people are not financially educated, or know the ins and outs of how certain businesses work. And we're here to do that.
And they might not have the time. One thing before I say anything else, congratulations if you're watching this show right now, because you're trying to take the first step to educate yourself. You're trying to actually listen to guys who you might not know, who have a lot of information to give you, and you could take those things to protect you on an investment in the future. And an investment isn't necessarily making money back, it's you putting your money out,
Right.
and your time's an investment. And I think that's where people run into the roadblock, right? It's like they have their 9 to 5 job. They got to come home. They got to cook dinner. They got to do this. That's why we'd always laugh in window sales. Somebody'd say, "Oh, well, I got to talk to my wife about it." It's like, "Oh, well, what time are you going to talk to your wife about it?" Like, are you guys actually tomorrow going to be like, "Hey, after dinner at 7:47, remember, we have our meeting to talk about our window investment." Nobody's going to do that. And that's why those people get preyed on, and
Yeah.
they get forced to make a decision that same day. And that salesman knows how to tactfully walk them through the process. But again, that's just one industry. You experience the same thing potentially in another industry.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Cars. The
Yeah.
car industry is, and it's one of the biggest industries, right? That's the crazy thing. One of the biggest industries where people are least educated in. And on a daily basis, I've watched individuals go in there and make bad financial decisions. And I've watched the business force, in a way, those financial decisions on the people, right? Um, so if you are a dealership or a car salesman out there, I want you to come on the show, and I have so many questions. Or come on here and maybe defend yourself, right? Or if you're doing a dealership or you're a car salesman and maybe you focus on selling quality cars or something like that, because I'm going to be coming after dealerships in our area. I'm coming after salesmen. Why? Because a lot of people don't realize almost every independent lot out there has nothing but vehicles with structural damage.
You were telling me that the other day. I had no idea about that.
Nobody
It's
does.
crazy.
Nobody knows that these reports are getting updated months and months later.
Explain that a little bit, because that is really interesting. Like, what actually happens when somebody brings in a car with structural damage or they buy it from an auction? How does that dealership sell that car?
Yeah. So dealerships, a lot of people don't know maybe where dealerships get their cars from, but every single independent dealership goes to the auction, right? The auction, they have different lanes. They have like the red lane where the car maybe doesn't run or something. Then they have the yellow lane where the car's okay, and the green lane where the cars are fine, right? And then they have the structural damage lane where cars have been in either something serious or the insurance declared that that car is no longer good. Now, a lot of the times it was some pretty major stuff, right, that probably happened to this vehicle. And so what these dealer owners are doing is they're going to the auction, strictly buying the structural damage
That's
lane
crazy.
cars because they're the cheapest, right? They bring them back, pass the little inspection or whatever, and then they sell these vehicles, and a lot of the times those reports that tell you that the vehicles has structural damage don't update till 6 months to 8 months
So you're talking
later.
about like the Carfax.
Right, your
So if somebody pulled a
Carfax out there.
Carfax and saw that
You could see
it's
your car's good to go,
and it's
and you're buying a
structurally
structural
damaged.
damaged car. So that's the type of things. And now, where that is upsetting, why I'm
What,
coming after
real
that
quick, would
industry.
that person get notified after they buy the car 6 to 8 months
Nope.
later when it so they're just
Nope.
stuck with it?
Yep. And what's
It's
happening is
crazy.
people are purchasing this vehicle based on a certain value without that information.
Right.
But once that information either gets updated through the system or whatnot, now, hey, your car is worth $20,000 less than it was, or
That's what I was going to ask. If it was like
$15,000
a
less.
$40,000 car structural damage, I mean, you could be
You
half,
immediately
right?
And then a lot of these times, these dealers are preying on people who don't have the best credit, who are in some type of tough financial situation. So all in all, man, it's a crazy industry, and that's why I'm coming after it, dude. Like, I'm gonna over and over get on our show and talk about this. And like I said, hopefully I strike a chord out
Yeah.
there, right? And maybe eventually change one dealer into doing things the right way, and that's the dealer we're gonna help.
I feel the same way because I mean, we're both dealing from both of our knowledge and both of our perspectives from used cars to window sales. Both of them are multi-billion-dollar industries that every day is thriving in this economy.
Yep.
I would assume that there's probably as many car dealerships as there is home improvement companies. I remember at one time in Maryland, there was over 15,000 active contractors.
Sheesh.
They even have that many contractors. This is crazy.
Right.
And they stay in business for a reason because they have a formula and it works. And people, if they're doing the same thing over, and that's why you look at 2020, you look at all these Dateline and NBC, and we're going to expose you and stuff, but they don't do that. Because why would they do that? It's the media.
Yep.
The media is controlled by, no, we don't have to go there. It's controlled by money.
Yep.
It's not Democrat, it's not Republican. It doesn't matter. The government's a system that was designed a long time ago. There's a
Yep.
system, unfortunately, designed against us.
The system, it's no different than any other organization looking to make money.
Yeah, they're for profit.
Yep.
That's why y'all pay taxes. Where that tax money goes, nobody knows.
Yep.
But the sad thing is every time that goes to a regulator, or if they're regulating, why aren't they regulating? Like they regulate, well, they can't even regulate the scam artists that operate over the countries and they prey on the old people and there's no like reversals of credit. They could implement that kind of stuff.
Right.
They could do whatever they want, but they choose not to. So if you believe that the government's going to protect you, just take two industries that we talked about today and see how you're absolutely unprotected within both of those industries. And then maybe you'll realize that since every company works the same way, wouldn't you assume it's probably every company that does that kind of stuff?
It would be safe to do so.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah. And I think, again, part of what we're doing is the type of people we are. Like I said, we like to work with good people, put the information out there, even though it's coming out of our time, which our time is money,
Yeah.
directly coming out of our pockets, in figuratively, indirectly.
And directly.
But that's fine. The world
Yeah,
needs people like
it's
us.
worth it.
To put that information out there, and like I said, disrupt some industries, ruffle some feathers, man. See what we can do, because there's too many people out there doing the wrong thing, and no one's learning about it. So
My dad wrote a book on sales, and I'm out here to destroy it.
hey, man, we got to do what you got to do to right.
Gotta do what's right.
Yin yang.
Yeah,
Right-
and it's
right the
it's
wrongs.
just what's right, and it's exactly the sentiment of what you said. You think, would you want your mom or your grandmother going there? And once people know what they should know, I think they're gonna feel the same way. Like no, and then maybe that will force some industries to change, right?
Yep.
Maybe if information you can go online and actually get the right information. Maybe if you get the media's not going to do it. Listen to our show. I remember a long time ago, I did a radio show with my dad, and we used to have Angie Barnett, the president of the Better Business Bureau, which was all pay to play anyway. Hopefully, Angie's not watching this, but everybody knows Better Business Bureau is pay to play. You don't go to the Better Business Bureau and find out if it's a good company or not. That company gets marketed by the Better Business Bureau to pay a monthly subscription to them to be involved in their program.
Yep.
But the one good thing that we did do is we would do scam jams, and we talk about some of these companies that are phishing. It was called phishing for information before this time. It was like this was 15 years ago. And they would try and get your social security number. They try
Mm.
and get your information. That way they could start to kind of hack you. From that to, I remember, I think it was called Blue Hippo. It was this computer company, and they were basically selling people that couldn't afford computers for $15 a week a computer that was infected with viruses. That was probably $100 computer that they bought out of a school when the schools redid their computers, and they bought that for $25. And they're charging people that can't even afford it like $20 a week. They ended up getting like over $1,000 for a PC that should have been like $100. But that was cool. We brought light to that. So I look forward to bring some of those things to the podcast. And like you said, maybe we'll have to black out some people's faces if we get some of your car sales rep friends, or solar industry, which is another industry that I'd love to attack and beat up because that's unscrupulous and paid for by your tax dollars.
Yep.
Scary.
Yes, it is, man. It is. And even as and I think kind of like as smart as I consider myself now, and and things like that, how much I still don't know, right? How much I still don't know. And we
Well, it's the cars. You just taught me the structural damage literally 3 days ago when we were talking. I had no idea about that. And I've been buying cars my entire life.
right.
And I wouldn't have known to even look for that.
Yeah. So, we'll always be talking about these things, bringing things to light, doing our own little research, and yeah, like I said, bringing a lot of attention to these things that we believe are important. And until I meet a business owner or a business in the industry that I'm beating
Flip them.
up, right, where I feel comfortable in sending my mom or my grandma
Right.
there by themselves to deal with them,
The 10%.
yeah, that's the folks that we're gonna help.
Yeah.
We're willing
Push
to
their
help.
message forward, push their business forward. We talked about on our first episode how I'm not social media. I don't believe in this format because to get a business to run, I can knock doors and sell my service. Not that I want to be doing that, but the more that we talk, the more belief that I have in it, and the more that I do understand and believe fully that this is the future. You made a comment to me about the business owners. The ones that will succeed are the ones that put themselves on social media, put themselves out there because they're not afraid of criticism and they're not afraid of what they're doing. And if you're not afraid of what you're doing and you'll put it in front of others, I mean, I think that's a pretty good first step.
Right.
Not necessarily all the way, because then it could just be an ad campaign, but
Yeah. No, I think that that's a big thing in business in general. And I think that's how it's always been. Before maybe it wasn't social media, but maybe it was radio.
mhm,
The guys were willing to go out on the radio and then either buy the spot or whatever the case may be, talk about their products would succeed more. I'm guessing, realtors, life insurance people, stuff like that, right? Um, so that's a big part of that. To have that presence and be able to put yourself out there. And like I said, but not only that, I think we both kind of have an understanding and are working together to bring people free information that is helpful.
yeah.
Because we just feel like it's just something that that has to get done by the people who are able to do it.
That's the difference we can make, right? It's like if we can get a couple people to free themselves from the rigmarole that they're
Hmm.
stuck in, from the 9 to 5, from the feeling of domination that they're on the gerbil wheel just spinning, doing the same thing every day. It's not a healthy lifestyle. It's
Nope.
not good for you, and you don't need to be doing it because at the end of the day, like we said, everything's a pyramid. And if you're at the bottom, you're paying for the top.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you be the top?
Yeah. And I think that, eventually for different business reasons, but and it's okay to be in the hamster wheel and be okay with it.
Yeah.
It's okay if you go to work and you're happy at your job and you come home and you're happy and you have time for your kids or your dog and you have time to go out and take a vacation or two throughout the year, it's perfectly
Yeah.
fine.
Not making fun of those people.
Right.
We're
Not at
talking to
all.
the people that are sitting at home like, I hate doing this.
Right.
You're literally sitting saying, I hate doing this. Do something else. What are
Yeah.
you afraid of?
There's always an
And
option.
and why are things rolling so fast now? Because unlike that person that's sitting at home saying, this sucks, I want to do something different, we just did it.
Yeah.
And we just started.
Like I see a meme a lot where there's this meme where there's this guy drawing a clown face and it's like a step by step thing as he draws more on himself on the clown because I have to explain memes to you because you don't
I
do
know.
social
I'm like,
media.
I'm waiting. I'm like, I haven't seen this meme. What
I'm
is
gonna put
this?
it up on the production thing, right?
Yeah.
Um, but it's like me getting ready. The meme says me getting ready to work while some kid on on YouTube just got paid $8 million to review toys. Put yourself on YouTube and start
Yeah.
reviewing toys.
Yeah.
You might get paid too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's easy to complain and not do
Of
something.
course.
And like I said, the people that we want to work with over time and bring onto the team and help out are the people that are sitting there with the mentality, the motivation, just don't have the right information. Send us a message, send us a DM, leave us a comment. And like I said, we're always willing to talk. We're always willing to see what's out there, learn from people, have people learn from us, answer questions. You know, if you have some questions you want us to answer on the next show, leave them in the comments and we'll address them for you. And if we can't answer them for you, we'll find somebody who can. So I think, like I said, man, I'm excited for where we're going. I'm excited for all the people we're gonna help along the way, and if we can make some money, so be it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think next week's episode, what we should talk a little bit about, just preview, just kind of spitball now, is kind of our in home experiences and how we were trained. Because I don't think anybody realizes how sales guys are actually trained to be assassins in your house.
Yeah. Do you still got any of that footage from the mold?
I do. I do.
Oh, geez, I think back,
We'll
man,
put
and
that
it's
up too.
cringy. Like
It
not,
is. No, it is. It's
it's
okay to say that.
yeah.
It's cringe.
It was like it was almost like a locker room before a sports. Like we gotta go out there and we train harder than they did, so we gotta get 'em.
You sell. You take all their money. You
Yeah,
leave nothing
man.
on the table.
So I'm excited to bring a light to that, and then the processes, and like I said, and
And then the people come in and they're like, "Oh, he was the nicest sales guy in the world." It's like, no, you got sold.
you and you just don't know it. Yeah,
That's right. But keep watching our show and you'll find out all the spots that you can get got because your money does matter.
I like that. See what you did there, dude. Money matters, baby. It does. It's just something we all need to think about and get smart about.
And that's it.
That's it.
We'll
Tune
see y'all
in
next week.
time. Peace.